welcome to the channel, and I'm super excited about this one because here I have the Whyte T130S. It's the 2019 model, and I've got this on a 14-day demo, so that's going to give me plenty of time in the saddle to give you guys an honest review of exactly how it performs. And where better to start than jumping into the text and specs of the bike, so stay tuned because here it is. Whyte is a British company, so this bike has been designed in the UK, but they are manufactured out in Taiwan. And the frame is an aluminium frame set. So what you see here is me demoing a large. So rocking up front is the RockShox Revelation. It's a 140mm travel fork, so unlike its predecessor where it came in at the 130mm travel, they have uprated it. And you have the adjustment rebound on the bottom there, so you can dial in that suspension rebound exactly as you want. And on the top here you also have the charger damper, which will again offer more refinement should you need it for the particular trail style of riding that you do. Coupled at the rear with the RockShox Deluxe RT shock, it has two positions. You have fully unlocked, which will offer you the exact suspension that you'd want, and then you just twist the dial round and then it will go into the locked position, so that will lock out and become effectively like hardtail. So two positions of adjustability along with the rebound dial, so you can get that adjusted to exactly how fast or slow you want that rear shock to react. Equipped with the SRAM Guide T brakes, they are entry-level brakes. Looking forward to seeing how these perform, and the reason for that, they are cheaper to produce than the Guide R brakes, but they promise the same power performance out on the trail. So let's see what that's like in the test. For the grips, it comes with Whyte's very own lock-on V-grip. Now when it comes to the extra small and small, the width of the bars are going to be 760 mils, and regardless of the frame that you get, it's going to be 31.8 millimeters in diameter there. On the extra small and small, it is a 15mm rise that you have here, so it won't be at that sort of steeper angle that you see. But when you move up to the bigger range, the medium large, extra large, the bars then increase up to 780mm wide. And on the large and XL only, you get the 30mm rise that you see right now. So something worth considering when you come to choose the frame size. And holding it all together is Whyte's very own gravity stem, coming in at 35mm, so it's nice and compact in the cockpit area. A dropper post is an absolutely essential piece of kit on a mountain bike these days, and this one comes equipped with the KS Lev. It's cable operated, so nice and easy and cheap on the maintenance side. On the extra small, you're going to get 100mm of travel, and when it comes to the small, you're going to get 125mm, and then all frame sets upwards, so medium large, extra large, you're going to get 150mm of travel. What you get within the bike is infinite adjustments. So what that means, and it really is smooth on here, is once you press that down, release the actual catch, then it's going to stick in position. But within its travel, when you adjust it, it's going to hold in place when you let go, so you can dial that seat in exactly where you want it. But it's a nice smooth operating dropper that works pretty flawlessly. The group set that comes with the bike is the Descendant 32 tooth. It's a direct mount system, and it is the GX Eagle. Now I need to say no more on that. The GX Eagle is a proven group set. It works really well, and just go and have a look at the internet and check that out for yourself. But we'll take a look at the back regardless. But this is a fantastic piece of kit, and as standard, you're going to love it. The GX Eagle is a 12x1 drivetrain. On the bottom here you have a 10 tooth ring, on the top 50. This is a 500% range up from a standard cassette. This will make mincemeat of anything you generally want to climb. So it is, as standard, like I say before, an absolutely immense bit of kit, and you'll absolutely love it. The wheel set is the WTB STI-29. Now that comes tubeless ready, so should you wish to convert to tubeless, it's going to make that process a lot easier. And the wheel size only comes in one option, it's 27.5 front and rear. To help keep you firmly planted to the ground, you have the High Roller 2. It's the 3C Max Terra compound up front, and that is the higher end of the scale when it comes to compounds in the Maxxis range. Also tubeless ready, so with the compatible rims, that should be quite an easy process should you wish to convert to tubeless. And on the rear you have the Maxxis Recon. It's not the 3C compound, so it is the cheaper moulding. However, what you are getting on the front and rear is a 2.6 wide tyre, so it is a plus size bike, and you have the option to go up to a maximum of 2.8 based on the recommendations out there on the internet. So it's nice to know that you can pretty much put on anything up to a 2.8 size tyre and get the best on the trail. Regardless of the frame size, within the T130S range, you're going to have all cables internally routed as you see, and that just completely declutters the cockpit area and makes it look all nice and neat. So what I've mentioned already, which is one of the major updates to this bike compared to its predecessor, is the 140mm fork up front, but also Whyte has this geometry called OTO, which is optimized trail offset. Now what does that even mean? Because when you go on the internet, it's not always easy to make sense of some of the stuff they put in the descriptions unless you know. So what I'm going to do is, with the use of some diagrams that I've pieced together, explain exactly how that works, and then hopefully you'll get a better understanding of exactly what it all means when you read this stuff. So the first thing to bear in mind is we take a measurement, effectively imaginary line from the head tube, this bit here, an imaginary line all the way down. Now we're not even looking at the shock position at this point because that really doesn't matter. So look at picture A, which is on the screen now, and you'll see that I've put that line through and titled that A to make it nice and easy. Next, you have an imaginary line going through the axle of the front wheel. So it's directly through the center where you can see the actual axle bolt going through, and that is image B that you see on the screen now. Now the distance between those, illustrated by image C, is 37 millimeters. So from that angle of the head tube through to the front center axle is 37 millimeters. Now I mention that because it really is quite a key feature, because what they've done is introduce that, and the brand actually says it's going to improve your steering stability. It moves the mass of the fork closer to the wheel, and it's going to give you a more neutral feeling when it comes to the steering out on the trail. So going to see how that works, but you can see it literally just comes straight down, and the gap between those two lines is quite close compared to some of the other brands out there. So how's it going to perform? Well, only time can tell, but I just hope more than anything I've cleared up exactly what that means. So I've taken you through absolutely everything that I want to, and hopefully more than anything I've actually cleared up a couple of things that you may not have understood when you read this on the internet, because it can be mind-boggling some of the stuff that they put in there if you don't have any idea what any of it meant before. But there is a great spec on this bike, and it retails in the UK at £2,650. It won't come with any pedals because that is the same on most premium bikes, but speak to your local dealership and see if they can throw some in as part of the offer, because they tend to do that to make the sale. But I think that's enough chit chat on the trail. I'm going to go over there, blast this thing down, see how it performs, piece a montage of stuff together, because remember it's a 14-day test for me. And at the end of it all, I will give you a verdict. No point doing that now, I've not had enough time in the saddle, so let's just get to it. So that's the end of my 14-day demo, and it's just gone like that, if I'm honest. The beauty is, being February, winter in the UK, I've managed to test this in almost every condition that you could imagine. So it's been blustery winds, it's been raining, snow, ice, it's been so muddy at times that I've taken this bike out, but I've had an absolutely fantastic time. And the beauty of the 2-week demo is I can say what this performs like in all conditions because I've experienced them in the last 2 weeks. The first thing I can say that kind of backs up why this is a multi-award winning bike is it's just not difficult to understand that when you sit in the saddle for the first time, because if I'm brutally honest, when I sat on there and I had set up the front and rear suspension how I had set up any other bike that I demo, it felt like it was actually my own bike. I didn't have to get used to anything, I didn't have to take my time down certain trails, and to have that feeling from day one at this price point, that is an absolute bonus. Now, with all that said, there are 3 things that I do want to point out, and they are minimal things in the grand scheme of what this bike offers, but just observations from my 2 weeks in the conditions that I've been riding. The first would be the tyres. Now, being that 3C compound, when you're in sloppy UK conditions or wherever you are in the world, they bite into the ground so much that the rolling resistance does decrease quite big. So you're going to have to work for every pedal stroke because the tyres are doing exactly what they're designed for, but at the same time, you're going to have to put in that physical effort to get them going a little bit faster. And that, over a long course of trails, has been quite demanding at times, and I class myself as being like averagely fit. So they do a perfect job, the 2.6s, but just something to be mindful of. The second thing that I'll definitely point out is the SRAM Guide Ts. It's the first time I've used these, and if I'm perfectly honest, it's kind of a 50-50 with performance. So you can have that consistency, but then you can go out another day and it's fairly inconsistent. So you have to get used to them most definitely, but compared to premium brands, out the box, you're not going to be disappointed with the performance. But because I've had the opportunity to use the higher end of the scale, they do underperform, not all the time, but for the trails that I ride in the UK, they're not on par with some of the better brands out there. So it's a worthy upgrade if you want to do it later down the line, but like I say, stock out the box, and at the price tag at £2,650 you're going to have a good performance, but it's something that you can look into in the future. And the third and final thing to mention is the Revelation 140mm fork up the front. While I'm riding XC trails and sort of family friendly trails at my local Queen Elizabeth Country Park, which you saw in the video, it performs absolutely beautifully, as you would expect. When I took it to a more demanding place, which was the second section of video, Rogate downhill, on these sculpted trails it performs like a dream, but on the technical sections where you have lots of rocks, roots and lumps and bumps that you would expect on a techie section, it doesn't underperform at all, but you just end up working for it a bit more, and it certainly feels like a 140mm travel fork by the time you get to the bottom. Whereas, you know, if I relate it to my own bike, which is a 160mm, it feels a lot smoother as I go through those transitions to get to the bottom. But it handles it like a boss, and I got to the bottom of every single experience that I did on this bike over the 2 weeks and had a smile on my face, and that's what mountain biking is all about. So the question is really, would I recommend this to anybody? I would absolutely recommend this. It's a fantastic bike and it had me feeling confident from day one, and there aren't many saddles that I jump into day one of any demo that make me feel the way that this one has. It is the absolute dream, and if you have an opportunity to go and test ride one of these, I would highly recommend you do that, but you're not going to be disappointed. Thanks to the team down at Cycle Works in Petersfield. I'm going to link those down in the description, so be sure to have a look. They have a range of brands and models in the shop, and they're all for demos, so if you want to go and touch base with those guys, there are terms and conditions when it comes to demoing a bike, but go and speak to them. They're very helpful, and without them I wouldn't have had this for 14 days, so be sure to check that out, and a massive thank you from me. If you like what you see, give it the thumbs up, throw your comments in down below, and of course it would be absolutely fantastic if you subscribed. So if you press the logo down there, I've got some merchandise at the store now, so if you have a look at that, that would be great. If you were to support the channel and buy some of that, that would just be fantastic. But if you stay tuned to the very end, you'll see me going 40+ miles an hour down a hill at my local in snow and ice, and you can just hear that I'm having such a great time, and it handled like a beast. So until then, I'll see you for the next one. Here we go. Just fly it!
off camera. Oh. Not as good as we'd like it, but I'll tell you what, how much fun. Oh, that was mental.